to come on out to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Now, we will be hosting our second annual FDMG Academy Family Festival. It is totally free. It begins at 10 a.m. and it ends at 8 p.m. with a fashion show. It costs you nothing to attend, but we would like for you to register at fdmgfestival.com because we want to make sure we have as much free food and as much free giveaways as we can. So please go to fdmgfestival.com, thanks Bob, and register yourself and your children. There will be food, there will be games, there will be a professional stage with performers, there will be vendors. There's a whole section of games for children. Don't leave the children at home. We have an entire field of children's games where they can earn points and win prizes at the end of the day. We are 20 driving minutes from the Philadelphia International Airport. So if you're flying, you fly into Philly. Delaware is Philadelphia's backyard. It's like Cleveland and Cleveland Heights. That's Philadelphia and Wilmington, Delaware. And most of all, you get a chance to see the school that people say we didn't buy and still don't own. With that being said, I want to give a special thank you to my brother Lynn Hampton. When I first came, give him a hand, brothers and sisters. When I first came into black consciousness on the national level, because I had been in black consciousness since I was a fourth grader at Meade Elementary School in North Philadelphia, so black liberation is all I've known since the age of 9. But on the national scale, it started in the fall of 2010 with an interview in Chicago and a public lecture in Harlem. After that Harlem lecture, I was catapulted to the top of the Black Consciousness Movement, where I've been the most requested speaker, not in the United States, but in the world, of my race for 13 years. But I want to say that after that Chicago interview and after that New York lecture, there were 5 cities that were the first to bring me. And Brother Lynn and Cleveland was one of the first 5 cities to invite Dr. Umar to come and speak. So there's a special relationship I have with Cleveland because you're one of my first 5, along with Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Cleveland, Ohio. I also want to thank Sister Francis for making this happen. Put your hands together for Sister Francis, African American Museum of Cleveland. Sister Francis and I have a lot in common because she's in the process of renovating this beautiful institution, and I'm in the process of renovating the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So I now know firsthand the trials and tribulations of trying to build an institution for black people. And let me start off right from the beginning, brothers and sisters, by saying the reason it's so hard, so difficult to build institutions for African people is because we have been convinced and we have been indoctrinated and we have been trained to believe that if the white man already has it, we don't need it. We were stripped psychologically during our enslavement of the natural human desire to exercise control over your destiny. African people are the only people in the world and in these United States who want no control over your destiny. When Chinese show up in Cleveland, when Arabs show up in Akron, when East Indians show up in Youngstown, when European Jews show up in Cincinnati, They don't show up asking, what can we get from white people? They say, what can we do for ourselves? But black people have been stripped of that natural desire to be in charge. And for most people, to be in charge is a divine responsibility from Almighty God. But slavery started from us. And black religion has reinforced the white man's indoctrination by making Negroes feel the less you have, the more God loves you. And so when you go to church and when you study the psychology of black religion, I don't care if it's Orthodox Islam, I don't care if it's traditional Christianity, you find this thought, this dominant pattern in black religion where they make us feel glorified for not having nothing. They make us feel like God's children when we're broke. They make us feel that you can't be no more righteous than when you have absolutely no resources. So black religion has been the handmaiden of white supremacy. So the white power structure will take it from you. And then black religion convinces you to not fight to get it back. So here we are. 2022, President Joe Biden, almost halfway through his term. You in Ohio, just like we back home in Philadelphia, in Virginia, where I'll be on Sunday celebrating the 191st anniversary of the greatest revolution in American history, led by the prophet and preacher, Reverend Nathaniel Turner. But wherever you go in America, black people have this unqualified loyalty to the Democratic Party. Yeah. We've been voting Democrat since Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Raw Deal in 1932. White people call it the New Deal, but for you it was a raw deal. And back then, after the Great Depression, Negroes saw a little bit more in FDR's Raw Deal than we saw coming from the Republican Party, so we started to switch. And by the time the civil rights movement came around, most of us had already switched. And now here we are, 89 years of voting Democrat. I ask you, what have you gotten for your loyalty? You voted for Jimmy Carter, he sold you out. You voted for Bill Clinton, he sold you out. You voted for Barack insane Obama, he sold you out. And now Joe Biden is selling you out worse than his predecessors. If you would have been paying attention, President Biden said 1 year before election, he tweeted on Twitter that the #1 civil rights issue in America is transgender equality. The #1 civil rights issue in America is transgender equality. He told you that 1 year before he got sworn in. And you still ran out and voted for a man who put transgender rights above black freedom. And then when he gets elected, the first law he signs on election day was a transgender equality law. He didn't think about your reparations. He didn't think about your mass incarceration. He didn't think about your miseducation, your police genocide, your economic apartheid. He went to the Rainbow Nation and ignored the red, black, and green nation. And then after he signed the transgender equality law, he still didn't come for Negroes. He then went to the Asians. And a group of Asian women were assassinated in Atlanta. And I don't have a problem with him signing a law for them. It was wrong what happened to him. But if you want to sign a law for Chinese women, Derek, you better sign a law for black women first being kidnapped, black women being beat, black women being killed, black women being sex trafficked. No law for black women. who witnessed damn near every president in this country's history up until Abraham Lincoln. Had it not been for the breast milk of black women, where would your first 15 presidents have been? But instead of looking out for the queens, you're going to look out for the Asians. And then him and Kamala Harris flies to Atlanta. And they give the Asians a personal meeting. But the president and vice president didn't give Michael Brown's family a personal meeting. That brother 45 minutes away in Akron who got 60 bullets pumped in him, his family didn't get a personal meeting with the president and vice president. Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tommy Rice. They didn't get a personal meeting with the president and vice president, but this is what they did for Asians. And then they even made it illegal to call Asians a racial slur. You can go to jail for calling an Asian a racial slur, but you can call black people whatever you want, and nobody suffers the consequence. And then after that, he still wasn't done. He went and found Afghan refugees and flew them into America with your reparations money. Gave them free housing with your reparations money. Gave them free health care with your reparations money. Gave them temporary work visas with your reparations money. And he still wasn't done. The U.S. Congress recently passed a law to increase the amount of reparations that America pays to European Jews as a result of a Holocaust that happened in another country. You didn't get a reparations yet, but they just increased the amount they're going to give Jews every year. They didn't stop. They then went and got Ukrainians and flew them into your ghettos. You know how much money the Ukrainians have gotten so far of your reparations money? $60 billion for Ukrainians. Not a reparations penny for Africans. But I promise you this. One thing for certain, two things true. When November the 2nd, November the 3rd runs around, when the midterm elections are upon us, in 3 months, half you will be back in line voting Democrat again. See, I need you to understand something. I'm trained as a psychologist. My doctorate is clinical psychology. I'm school psychologist certified. In behavioral psychology, the two main things they teach you is all behavior. All behavior, yours, your husband, your child, your animal, your plant, the Democratic Party, the president, the governor, the mayor, the councilwoman or man, all behavior is a function of where it happens and the consequences that follow. Black America has not given the Democratic Party any consequences. So why would they change what they do? You didn't give Obama no consequences. In fact, some of y'all still consider him a hero after he homosexualized our kids in public school. After he made Assata Shakur the #1 most wanted black fugitive in American history. $2 million bounty on the head, a black man, but he's your hero. He took money from black colleges and gave it to white ones, but he's your hero. He took everything our ancestors died for in civil rights, gave it to homosexuals, immigrants, white women, and handicaps, and you still love them. And because we're celebrating tonight, His Excellency, the preeminent prophet and king of black leadership and revolutionary Pan-African nationalism, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey, Marcus Garvey's son, presented Obama with a petition to exonerate his father from the false charges of J. Edgar Hoover, and Barack Obama, your so-called black president, told Garvey's son, I will not sign this exoneration. Yes, go do your research. But Obama is your damn hero. The first leader in American history to be a hero who did nothing for black people. That's right. See, I want you to understand why Joe Biden ignores you. I want you to understand why Donald Trump, although a Republican, ignores you. I want you to understand why the next president of the United States, Republican or Democrat, will also ignore you. Because you created a new precedent in American history when you gave Obama an 8-year pass. See, we're going to suffer for your 8-year pass. Your children are going to suffer for the 8-year pass. Your grand and great-grandchildren are going to suffer for the 8-year pass you gave Obama. Let me tell you why Joe Biden does not respond to you. Joe Biden was Obama's vice president. Joe Biden watched Obama ignore black people and get celebrated for it. Joe Biden watched Barack Obama ignore black people and get worshiped for it. Joe Biden saw how black people were being murdered by police, but wouldn't ask the president to do a damn thing about it. You tried to scapegoat the Supreme Court. You tried to scapegoat the Department of Justice. You tried to scapegoat the Attorney General. But you went right around. How can you scapegoat the president when by law the president of the United States is the chief policeman in the whole country? And then Kamala Harris said America is not a racist country. On national television, she told the world that America was not racist. See, this is why I don't trust Negroes who sleep with Neanderthals. I just need you to understand me real quick. I want you to understand me real quick. Now, my mixed race Africans, I don't treat you no different. As long as you identify with your African family, I see you no different. I treat you no different. So I'm not talking about you. But I am talking about the black man who goes to the white woman and the black woman who goes to the white man. It is a travesty. It is a black family holocaust we're dealing with all these black men dating non-African women. Why am I against it so much? I'm against it so much is because when rich, successful, financially comfortable black men marry into another race, they are committing economic sabotage, financial betrayal. You're taking from your community and voluntarily giving it to another in exchange for some cracker cookies. It's not working. Kobe Bryant was a billionaire, rest in peace. He died and left $1 billion fortune to a non-African woman who ain't thinking about making a donation to black liberation. Marvelous Marvin Hagler died from COVID, left his estate to a white woman who ain't thinking about making an economic contribution to the black community. Interracial dating is financial sabotage. These white women ain't marrying you because they love you. Have you seen all the white women who've been getting away with murdering their black boyfriends lately? You think they not racist no more because they have sex with you? Didn't the slave master have sex with you? So why is it any different now? Got a brother stabbed to death by his white girlfriend in Florida. Another white woman brought her black boyfriend to a Mormon wedding, and they wouldn't let him in. What the hell you doing going to a Mormon wedding in the first place? And then he goes whitewater rafting as the only Negro in the group. 6'6", he falls off. He's the only one who dies. Another brother in Pittsburgh, rest in peace to all of them, he goes hunting with his white friends 2 months ago. They find him dead in the woods. All the white people are all right. Another black woman goes to a sleepover with white girlfriends a few years ago in Georgia. She ends up falling from the second floor balcony. All the white women are all right. Another black boy went to a sleepover with a group of white boys. They urinated in the cup, made him drink it, and called him nigger all night long. And his mother's crying because the boys were not arrested. With all due respect, black woman, your ass should have been arrested. What are you doing sending black children to all white sleepovers? Black women, what is wrong with you? You don't go nowhere with a bunch of white women. Black men, you don't go nowhere with a bunch of white men. Your problem is you think they changed. You think the 21st century Caucasian is somehow different from his 16th century ancestors. I'm here to tell you they are 100% the same. I want to share something with you that an African priest shared with me recently. He said, Dr. Umar, you're not just fighting white folks. You're fighting their ancestors who need them to win against you. He said you're fighting whites in flesh and whites in spirit. And one of the reasons we're not winning this war is because black people have been brainwashed by black religion to not communicate with their ancestors. Black people have been brainwashed by Christianity and Islam to not build a relationship with their deceased relatives. The white man calls on Thomas Jefferson every chance he gets. He calls on George Washington every chance he gets. We don't call on our ancestors. Because of a book that's only 2,000 years old. A book that's only 2,000 years old. And another book that's only 1,500 years old. African people are no younger than 350,000 years old. I want you to understand this. Put it in context. We are not only the first ancient man, we're the first modern man. And that modern man is 350,000 years old. But somebody gonna bring you a book. Somebody gonna bring you a book that's only 2,000 years old. And another one 1,500 years old, and you're going to disqualify your entire cultural history for a book. I had a Negro tell me my religion doesn't allow me to fight for black liberation. I'm not allowed to see color. And I said, well, your religion is an instrument of white supremacy. See, anything in your life, I don't care what it is, that blocks you from struggling for African liberation is an instrument of white supremacy. See, we can talk about the psychological Holocaust, but we got to talk about the psychoeconomic Holocaust. How is it in Cleveland? We hardly have any independent black schools. Same thing in Philadelphia. Same thing in most boroughs in New York. Hardly any black supermarkets. Hardly any black banks. None. How is it you don't have no black schools, no black banks, no black hospitals, no black supermarkets, but collectively black America every year spends $30 billion a year on hair and beauty products? Do you realize, black woman, you spend more money on your hair than half the African nations have to spend an entire year? And why do we spend so much money on how we look? You think it has nothing to do with 4 centuries of being told you're ugly? Yes. Do you think it has nothing to do with 4 centuries of being told you're too dark, your nose too wide, your skin too black? That's why you spend $30 billion a year. Because you're trying to convince yourself that you're attractive, and you're doing it by using European standards of beauty. I hope none of your daughters got white doll babies at home. I hope none of your sons are playing with white dolls at home. Because there's no greater sin a black parent can commit than introduce their children to white supremacy in the bedroom. Black child don't need no white dolls. None. Why not, Dr. Umar? The world is made of all colors. They want to see more than enough white folks the minute they leave your damn house. They don't need to be playing with them at home. I take half your daughters to the store right now, they'll still pick out the white dolls. 68 years after Kenneth Clark in the school desegregation doll study of Brown versus Board. 68 years, your daughters will still pick the white doll. And what's so funny about the white dolls that our boys play with is most of the Marvel comics were stolen reincarnations of African divinities. Y'all don't know that Charles Xavier is a stolen archetype of the Yoruba deity Obatala. Y'all don't know that Wolverine is a stolen archetype of the Yoruba divinity Ogun. That's why his name is Logan. You drop the L, you get Ogun. That's why he got 3 swords on each fist, because Ogun's number is 3. Y'all don't know that Thor was Shango, stolen and counterfeit. That's why Thor's element is thunder. Thor's colors are red and gold. Thor's weapon is a double-sided hammer, just like Shango, red and gold, thunder, and the double-sided hammer. Halle Berry Storm is the Yoruba divinity Oya, mother of transformation, winds, and ancestors. I'm trying to understand why you're okay with your children playing with white dolls, but you'll never let them learn about the African gods they were stolen from. This is why I'm building the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Because I got to take the code that you raising at home and turn them back into an African. If it was up to me,